You're scrolling. Again. And somehow, it always ends the same. You feel smaller. Someone's vacation, someone's promotion, someone's perfectly arranged breakfast. You don't even notice how your breath shortens, how your shoulders tense, but something inside you just sinks. You were fine a minute ago. So what happened? You forgot to stay with you. It starts so quietly, doesn't it? That shift in your attention. You're living your life, just going about your day, and then you glance at someone else's, and without realizing it, your mind begins a silent audit. They have this. You don't. They did that. You haven't. They look like that. You never will. That's the trap. You compare. And in doing so, you disconnect from yourself. You stop hearing your own voice when someone else's gets louder in your head. Maybe it's a coworker's confident tone that makes you second-guess your ideas, or your sibling's relationship that stirs something raw in you, envy or maybe just longing, or a friend's social calendar that suddenly makes your quiet weekend feel like a failure. And here's the thing. None of these moments are inherently harmful. But when they become constant, when the outside world becomes your measuring stick, you start to shrink inside. Now think about this. How often are your thoughts about them more than about you? Be honest. Consider how many moments you've spent scrolling, watching, wondering, instead of checking in with yourself. Instead of asking, what do I want? What do I feel? What matters to me right now? Comparison isn't just draining, it's disorienting. It confuses your internal compass. Suddenly, you're not walking your path, you're chasing someone else's shadow. And the tragedy is, you might not even notice it happening. Here's a simple practice. At the end of today, sit quietly for 5 minutes and list everything you noticed about other people. Then list everything you noticed about yourself, your body, your moods, your thoughts. Which list is longer? Which one felt more emotionally charged? That little experiment tells you everything about where your attention lives and how often you leave yourself behind. Let's make it real. Picture this. You're in a room full of people you admire. You feel your heartbeat shift. You straighten your posture a little. Your smile stretches, just enough to seem confident. But inside, you're not really present. You're scanning the room for someone else's approval, adjusting your personality like a dial. And later, when you're alone, there's this emptiness. Not because you weren't liked, but because you weren't really there. This is what comparison does. It makes you vanish from your own life. You can tell it's happening by that heavy feeling in your chest. The way you hesitate before posting something. The way your joy gets interrupted by the sudden thought that someone else has it better. The subtle grief of watching your energy go towards someone else's life, while yours waits in the background. But you can come back. You always can. When you notice that sinking feeling, pause. Don't rush to fix it or push it away. Just name it. I'm comparing again. That one moment of awareness is powerful. It interrupts the loop. It calls you back. Ask yourself gently, what am I trying to prove right now? And then ask, to who? Often, there's no clear answer, just a vague sense of not being enough. That's your cue to redirect inward, not harshly, not urgently, just with care. Another small shift. Replace comparison with curiosity. Next time you feel envy, say, interesting. I wonder what this is showing me about what I want. Use it. Don't punish yourself for feeling it. Your feelings are data. They're invitations back to you. And here's something tender. You don't need to be spectacular to be valid. You don't need to catch up to anyone. You don't need to prove anything before you're allowed to rest. You are already inside your life. You don't have to earn your way in. The outside noise will always be there. The scrolling, the stories, the perfectly lit photos and polished updates. But you don't have to live there. You have a home, inside you. It's quieter, it's gentler, but it's where the real answers live. So stay with you. Every time you give your attention away, something is quietly stolen from you. Not money, not time. Something deeper, your sense of direction, your connection to your own inner world. What if your focus wasn't scattered, but sacred? What if the way back to yourself was simply learning where your mind keeps going and gently calling it home? Attention is your most precious currency. You don't always treat it like that, but deep down, you feel it. You notice how tired you are after a day of giving your focus to everyone but yourself. Work demands it. Relationships need it. The internet steals it in handfuls. And when it's finally quiet, when the noise stops, you sometimes feel like a stranger to yourself. It's not your fault. The world is designed to keep you distracted. Every beep, every scroll, every highlight reel, it all pulls your gaze outward. And slowly, you lose track of what you actually think, what you care about, what's even real to you. You become a mirror, reflecting everything around you, and wondering why you feel invisible. But the truth is simple. Even if it's not always easy, you can choose where your attention goes. You can train it like a muscle. It starts with noticing, without judgment, how often your mind leaves you. Right now, consider this. How many times today did you check your phone without meaning to? How often did you drift into someone else's story? How often did you feel the urge to react to something before even understanding how you felt? That reaction, that autopilot, is what you're reclaiming. You are learning to pause, to breathe, to return. Here's a small practice. Set a 3-minute timer. Sit with your eyes open or closed, and just observe your thoughts. Not change them, not chase them. Just notice. Where does your attention run? Who or what keeps stealing it? Don't label it as good or bad. Just see it. You can't shift what you don't first notice. And then, very gently, bring it back to your body. Your breath, your heartbeat. That quiet thump reminding you, you are here. Every time you do this, you're not just meditating. You're relearning how to stay with yourself. Let's bring it into a real moment. Imagine you're at work, in a meeting. Someone speaks up with an idea, and suddenly, your chest tightens. You feel small. Your mind races. Why didn't I think of that? Are they smarter? Do I even belong here? Pause. This is the moment. Your attention has left you. Don't fight it. Just notice it. And say, silently, come back. Not because they're wrong, not because you're better, but because your mind is not your enemy, and you don't need to abandon yourself to stay safe. Reclaiming attention is radical. It means not answering every text right away. It means saying no, even when someone else wants a yes. It means checking in with how you feel before reacting to how they do. And it means learning to sit with silence. That part is hard. When you stop distracting yourself, the quiet can feel loud. Old doubts rise. Boredom creeps in. But stay. That discomfort, that's where you meet your real self, the one you keep overlooking. Here's a journaling prompt for tonight. Where has my attention gone this week? What part of me has been waiting for it to return? Write it down. Don't edit. Just flow. Let the truth rise, even if it feels messy. The more you do this, the more your energy comes back to you. You stop leaking it into every screen and storyline. You begin to feel rooted, grounded, steady, even when the world spins. And with that steadiness comes clarity. You know what to say yes to and what to walk away from. You know what matters to you, not just what looks good on a screen. You stop performing and start participating in your own life. So remember this. Every time your mind wanders, you are not failing. You are human. And you are practicing. Not perfection, but presence. This isn't about tuning out the world completely. It's about making sure you never turn yourself down so low you forget how you sound. Bring the volume back up, tune in, reclaim your focus. You've been living in reaction mode, always adjusting, always comparing, always reaching for a version of life someone else modeled. But what if you stopped? What if, instead of chasing, you started listening? There's a life already calling your name, It doesn't shout, it whispers. You just haven't been quiet enough to hear it. You start feeling it when the noise finally settles. That sense of space, of clarity, like waking up in your own room after being gone too long. You realize you've been living someone else's rhythm, rushing where you should pause, saying yes when you meant maybe, striving toward goals that, if you're honest, never truly felt like yours. This is where you start building your own life, not the life that earns applause, not the one that checks every box, but the one that fits you, like your favorite old sweater, worn, imperfect, but completely yours. That life begins when you ask, what do I value? Not what your parents valued, not what your friends brag about. You. What makes you feel awake? What brings you peace? What do you want to feel more often? Ease, wonder, purpose, quiet? You don't have to answer right away, but you do need to ask. Because until you name what matters to you, you'll keep chasing what matters to them. And that path never leads home. Here's something real. You might disappoint people. You might slow down while everyone else speeds up. You might say no to things you used to celebrate. But this discomfort is the price of living in alignment. And that alignment, it gives back more than it ever takes. Try this. Think of a time you felt deeply proud. Not because someone clapped, but because it felt right. Maybe you walked away from something toxic. Maybe you showed up for yourself when no one else saw it. That feeling, that's your compass. That's you, living from the inside out. Now imagine building a life where that feeling is the baseline, not the exception. It starts with small choices. You don't have to burn everything down. Just begin noticing. When you say yes, is it from truth or fear? When you scroll, is it from curiosity or avoidance? When you commit to something, does your body lean in or tense up? Your body knows. It always does. Alignment isn't a concept, it's an experience. You feel it when you exhale without realizing you are holding your breath, when your shoulders drop, when you laugh from your belly, not your throat. Let's get even more practical. Design one U-shaped day. It doesn't have to be big or perfect. Just pick a Saturday. Wake up and ask, if I didn't have to impress anyone today, what would I do? What would I eat, wear, listen to, move like? Try it. Journal about it afterward. What surprised you? What did you miss? What did you not miss at all? That's your real life waving at you from across the room. Another experiment. Track your energy instead of your time. For 1 week, note which parts of your day leave you energized versus drained. Then ask, what patterns do I see? Where am I forcing something that doesn't fit anymore? That awareness is power. It helps you build a schedule, not just a life that nourishes instead of depletes. And here's something softer. Stop waiting for permission to slow down. The world will always offer you speed. But your soul? It might be asking for stillness. Listen, you don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need to stop pretending you're lost just because your path looks different. Different isn't wrong, it's just yours. Let go of timelines, let go of rules, let go of the hunger to arrive so you can prove you're worth something. You already are. You are allowed to create a life that no one claps for, but feels deeply good to live inside. Let the others chase loud dreams. Let them post highlight reels. You, come back to the quiet. Come back to your rhythm. Come back to what fits your bones. Not just your ego, your life, your pace, your way. Jealousy doesn't mean you're petty. It doesn't make you weak. It means you're human. And maybe, just maybe, it means you've been ignoring your own desires. Instead of shaming yourself for feeling it, what if you used it? What if every pang of envy was a map, pointing you back to what you truly want? There's that tightness in your chest again. You see someone win, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel small. You want to be happy for them, you really do, but something stings, something clenches, something whispers. That should be me. Jealousy hits without warning, and it often comes wrapped in shame. You judge yourself for feeling it. You try to push it down. But the more you bury it, the more power it has. So here's a different approach. Don't push it down. Don't deny it. Listen to it. Because jealousy isn't random. It's revealing. It shows you what matters. It shows you what's been neglected. It shows you where your heart still beats, even when you've tried to forget. Let's say your friend gets a promotion. You smile. You say congrats. But later that night, you feel off. You start questioning your own career. You spiral into comparisons. But beneath all that, there's something simpler. A longing. A quiet truth you haven't named. I want more. I'm ready for more. I'm scared to admit it. That's what jealousy is trying to tell you. Here's a gentle exercise. The next time jealousy flares, pause and write down these 3 questions. What exactly am I jealous of? What does that person's life represent to me? What am I afraid I'll never get? Don't overthink, just answer honestly. Often, it's not the person you're envious of, it's the feeling they seem to have. Freedom, recognition, peace, joy, whatever it is, you want that too. That's not wrong. That's direction. Now go one step further. What would it look like to give yourself a little piece of that today? Just one small version of that thing you crave. If it's freedom, can you take a walk without your phone? If it's recognition, can you acknowledge something you've done well, just for you? You don't have to have the whole mountain. Just a foothold, just a step towards something real. And let's talk about social media for a second. It's a jealousy machine. It's built to provoke that pang, that flash of, I'm not enough. You know it's curated. You know it's edited. But that doesn't stop your brain from reacting. So give yourself a boundary, not punishment. Protection. Mute, unfollow, log out, not because they're bad, but because your peace is more important than your performance, and your path deserves fewer distractions. Jealousy is not proof that you're failing. It's proof that something still matters to you. And that is beautiful. That means you're alive. Imagine this. You're watching someone you admire. They just published a book, traveled solo, started something bold. Instead of sinking into self-doubt, you take a breath. You feel the flare of envy, and then you whisper, "Thank you. Thank you for showing me what's possible. Thank you for reminding me of what I want." And then, you return to your own lane, calm, focused, ready. There's no shame in wanting more, wanting something different, wanting something better. That hunger, that longing, that's sacred. Don't numb it. Don't dismiss it. Let it fuel you. Try this journal prompt tonight. If jealousy were a guide, what would it be telling me I'm ready for? Write until your truth spills out. Then circle the sentence that makes you sit up straighter. Breathe deeper. That's the beginning of your next chapter. You don't have to chase what others have, but you do have to honor what you want. Even if it scares you. Even if it takes time. Especially if it takes time. Because when you stop fighting your jealousy and start listening to it, something shifts. You stop spiraling. You start designing. And that's when your life begins to feel like yours again. Not because you've arrived, but because you're finally moving towards something real. You've done the work. You're tuning into yourself. But then, someone surges ahead. The doubt creeps in. You start wondering if you're behind, if you're doing it wrong, if focusing on yourself is just an excuse to play small. And this is the turning point. Will you abandon yourself now, or will you stay? Let jealousy speak, let it guide you, then let it go. You've done the work. You're tuning into yourself. But then, someone surges ahead. The doubt creeps in. You start wondering if you're behind, if you're doing it wrong, if focusing on yourself is just an excuse to play small. And this is the turning point. Will you abandon yourself now, or will you stay? This is the hardest part. Not starting, not dreaming, but staying. Staying with yourself when no one is clapping. When the results aren't visible yet. When the world keeps throwing shinier, faster, louder distractions in your path. It's easy to stick with your values when everything's going well, but when progress feels invisible, when your efforts look boring compared to someone else's highlight reel, that's when self-focus becomes an act of courage. You will have moments of doubt. Of course you will. You'll look sideways and think, they're ahead, they're doing more. Maybe I chose wrong. But pause. Feel that reaction. Sit with it, because this is where you learn the deepest skill of all. Staying anchored in your truth even when the tide rises around you. There's a moment every day when you feel tempted to reach outside yourself for answers, to compare, to conform, to shift your direction just a little so it looks more like theirs. But this time, stop. Don't adjust. Don't chase. Just breathe. Because the truth is, no one else knows what it's like to be inside your skin. No one else carries your blend of fear and hope and fire and ache. Your path is supposed to look different. It's not a detour. It's design. When it gets hard, and it will, come back to the body. Anchor into the now, your breath, your feet on the floor, your voice when you speak gently to yourself instead of criticizing every inch of progress. That's how you hold on. And when you feel yourself slipping, when you start to lose belief in your own process, ask this. If I were guiding a friend through this exact moment, what would I say? Say it to yourself, with the same warmth, the same patience, the same belief in their future. Let's paint a moment. You're working on something deeply personal. It's taking longer than expected. There's no applause, no audience, and then you see someone else posting about their new achievement, their momentum, their win. Your chest tightens. You feel behind. Now, instead of spiraling, you close your eyes. You whisper, I'm not behind. I'm on my way. You open your journal and write, what do I know is true, even without proof right now? And you list it, one by one. That's your foundation. Because the path you're building doesn't rely on comparison. It relies on consistency, on alignment, on the quiet promise you made to yourself that you won't abandon your truth for temporary validation. Another powerful practice. Name your anchors. Choose 3 things that keep you rooted in you. It could be a morning ritual, a walk in silence, a phrase you repeat, a playlist that reminds you who you are. Write them down. When doubt comes, return to those anchors. Also, expect the silence. Growth is often quiet. No one claps when you choose not to spiral. No one celebrates when you break a generational pattern inside your own mind. But you'll feel it. That shift. That power. That quiet strength that builds when you stay with yourself. And here's something tender. You will feel lonely sometimes. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because most people don't know how to sit with themselves. And when you do, you break a pattern. You create a new way. One where peace is internal, where joy is not borrowed, where presence is the goal, not just the prize. You are not meant to be everyone. You are not here to perform your life. You are here to live it, deeply, slowly, meaningfully. So stay. When it's messy, when it's boring, when it's beautiful in ways no one else can see. Stay. Even when you're tempted to look sideways, forward, back, come home to you. Because the deepest kind of power doesn't scream. It whispers, again and again, I'm here. And now, take a deep breath. Let all the words soften, blur a little. You don't need to remember every step, every insight. Just remember this. Your growth is not measured by how loud it is, or how quickly it happens. It's in the returning, the quiet choosing, the deepening into yourself. There will be days you drift, doubt, forget. That's okay. That's human. What matters is that you come back to your body, your values, your pace. Keep showing up, even gently. You're not late. You're not wrong. You're already on your way. Be kind, stay close, and keep going.